welcome to an interview with me and Judith Clark. And Judith is going to tell you some awesome things about the work that she does, the places that she can bring you to. And I am very blessed to be able to experience Judith myself and be able to talk about what it is that Judith does. So just your title, Judith, just give us the intrigueness of what you do, and then I'll talk about the experience that I've had with you so far.
Sure. Well, I do past life readings, and I do a form of coaching that I've kind of morphed many different types together and called it super conscious empowerment coaching and zone coaching.
Great. And for all of you that are here tonight, the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is the gift of energy that we put into ourselves, into our wellness, into our knowledge base, into who we are. And what that means is that it separates you from the tribe, from the mass of people. Because I want you to know this, a very small percentage of our entire culture spend time on themselves. The massive culture spend time doing the same thing every single day, expecting something magical and new to happen and appear into their life. And they're the people that realize subconsciously and unconsciously that nothing new appears into their life. But they generally have that realization when life has slipped them by so quick and so fast. Judith and I, and you guys here tonight, you're more involved in anticipation of what are new things that I could do. And that is so inspiring to a human brain and a human body to always be doing something new. So even by just virtue of the fact that you're here tonight means that you are doing something new. And what that does is that slows down, by the way, the degradation, the entropy of a human brain. When the brain learns new things, is inspired by new things, and works in new realms and new paradigms. And that's what we're doing here tonight. And as I've had an opportunity to work with Judith, a lot of you here tonight will have a great opportunity to work with Judith. So before we get going, I want to welcome everybody who's up from Ireland. I know that you were having a sleep in this morning. UK, which is Scotland, England, and Wales. And for those people who attended those workshops that we ran, wow, they were what a crowd. It was so brilliant, so great. And it's great to see you here today. We got some people from the US. We got a growing database over there. And of course, Judith and mine, hometown, Australia. And I live in, for those of you who are intrigued by Australia, I live in the most isolated city on earth, in Perth, in Western Australia. But here we are on Zoom, all able to interact and communicate. Our job tonight, is to give you something really, really, really inspiring. I will tell you about my experience with Judith. And she just laid it out to me one day, without me even asking for a past life regression. So it wasn't a moment whereby we were booked in to speak together. It was just in a conversation that we were having whereby she said, "Do you want me to tell you a little bit about you, Ray?" And I went, "Sure, you far ahead. Here's my story." Judith will tell you how she divulged to me, I divulged to me my past life and what it is that I was doing. So what I will do is I'll change my mind, actually. I'll get Judith to tell you first what she told me about me, and then I'll bring you back to my school and I'll tell you how it all made sense. Judith, what was it that you told me about me?
Oh, okay, let me remember. And take in mind, this was a quick 3-minute spare of the moment thing. So I saw you from memory as a rebel leader in Ireland. And I saw that you were captured and some of your other key players were captured and they were tortured in order for you to try and get you to divulge information because they knew you wouldn't otherwise. And yeah, you didn't. And you died anyway, and certainly left you with a lot of anger, this rebellion cause within you that is both your blessing and can be a curse as well. um,
That was very much it. That was
is
very much
is
it.
that enough? I mean, there's a few other things, but more personal, so I might leave those
And
out. Yeah.
what that was able to do for me, for all of you here watching now, what that was able to do for me was it really allowed me to make sense of so many unanswered questions. But what Judith done for me when she read that to me from her mind, and as you can see this evening, this was not rehearsed. I just completely put Judith on the spot, and she almost had to go back and do that regression as well. She had to do that release again. She had to reflect on that. So that was Judith doing what Judith does, which I was so blown away with that I knew I had to bring her to you so that you could see this. Now, let me bring you back to my story. And some of you actually know my story from some of the workshops. I attended a Christian Brothers school called Westland Row Christian Brothers School, or Westland Row CBS. When I attended that school, we had car bombs outside the school, where the Protestants were blowing up the Catholics, were Catholics, and then the Catholics were up in Northern Ireland blowing up the Protestants. But my family were passing by the car when the bomb went off. And there was mum, dad, and two kids, 6 months old, 2.5-year-old. And they were my father's in-laws, my dad's in-laws. And I remember that extremely, extremely well. But that happened to me when I was in school. But when I was in school, in my classroom, outside my classroom is a glass case the height of a human. And in that glass case is a bottle green uniform, an army uniform. And that army uniform is perfect now. And they had a brimmed hat. And these were the original IRA in 1916. And outside my classroom in my school is this uniform with bullet holes here in the chest and a bullet hole here in the hat. And that uniform was worn by a guy called Padraig Pearse, who went to my class, my school. And he was the leader of the 1916 rising against the British that finally broke 800 years of British rule in Ireland. They ruled us for 800 years. We've only owned our own parliament for about 90 years now, out of 1,000. And Pearse going to my school as a young boy, put together this army that they called the Irish Republican Army. And then Pearse and all of his army buddies, they trained in the streets and they trained in the hills, and they had rifles, and they were fed all the armory that they needed to rise up in Dublin against the British. And something didn't work too well, and it went against them, and they took over the center of the city. But after 3-4 days, they were captured, and Padraig Pearse was one of the leaders of that rising. Now, through my whole schoolhood years, I was intrigued by Padraig Pearse. I went to the house that him and his cronies fought in. I went to the GPO where him and his buddies had fought. I remember walking down the street because I know the history of it so well. In the museum in Dublin, they have his friend's notebook that he sat with while they're surrounded by British troops, writing his notebook. And I remember looking at that as a child and being intrigued by Padraig Pearse. I was completely intrigued. I've watched every movie about him. I've followed his life. I know so much about Padraig Pearse. And every time I go back to Ireland, I go back to my school and I literally stand and look at the uniform, and I do the whole tour. I just done it again about 3 months ago. They've moved the uniform. I couldn't find it. But that is my story, because he went to my school. I was intrigued by him. I even went to the hotel called the Shelburne Hotel, which they took over and turned into a hospital. So I've been infatuated with this guy since I was a kid. And then out of the blue, Judith tells me, Ray, potentially in a past life, you were a rebel, you were captured, you wouldn't divulge information, and you were executed. That's exactly what happened to Padraig Pearse. Exactly to the T what happened to him. So you can imagine my intrigue. What that done for me, though, is something that it could do for you. What that done for me was it really elevated my internal power base. Like, I started to really reflect on the fact that, you know what, maybe I am a rebel. You know, maybe I do need to push more doors open. And it gave me a fire in my belly. And that was only a couple of months ago. And I still have that fire in my belly today from that 3 minutes that I spent with Judith Clark. It was just an amazing 3 minutes to go through. What is a past life reading? How does it relate to now, Judith?
Well, a past life reading, in the way that I do it, is that I get an impression from the field of a past life, and get impressions of how it's relating or affecting you in this lifetime, either in a positive way or negative ways, and also get information on a different way of looking at what happened, and so that you can define it differently and take away different information about it. Because often we make judgment calls about it and say, look, I never want to be rich again after the way I was, or whatever it might be. And but when you can see another perspective, the whole story of why it was as it was, and how it was of benefit and how it needed to be, from that broader perspective, they're able to let go of that, and to be able to then allow that opportunity in this lifetime, be able to let go of that restriction that they put on themselves.
So what Judith, I'm sorry, Judith, I thought you were finished. Keep going.
Sure. Yeah, and it also, if it's relationship related, people can see why they relate in a certain way. You know, people go, I just don't know why I don't get along with this person in my family. And when they can get a different perspective, it allows them to have greater compassion and understanding, and then to be able to make different choices and relate differently.
And what you're talking about, Judith, is, you know, when you talk about how we perceive things, that when you combine a collective of human perceptions inside one brain and one body, and you combine these perceptions, so how that person sees multiple things, their sister, their mother-in-law, somebody saying to them, you need to make more money or get more money, and them saying, oh no, I'm only broke and I can't do this. And when you can, these are all based on perceptions. Perceptions come out as conclusions, which come out as beliefs. They're expressed as beliefs. And when you combine a conglomerate of perceptions together and form it into one, you have what's called personality. And personality then is driven by culture. So when you combine a collective of personalities and display it as personalities into one, you have what's called culture. And then most people have to conform to the culture. Otherwise, they'll be disconnected from the community and lose all their friends, or they come up with all these reasons and excuses. And when you combine this collective of perceptions into one person that you call beliefs and call a personality, it is based on past experiences that we had, not just in our life, but beyond our life in earlier days in the world that potentially you walked in and that developed that personality for you. So in fact, then, your perceptions, which determine everything that you do, if you have a misperception, a negative perception, or a malaligned perception, you have a disconnected, malaligned, limited life, all based on perceptions. In other words, life doesn't make mistakes. So what Judith is saying here is, your personality is not your fault. It was, for most of us, it was handed to us. And what Judith is able to do is look into that deep personality that you have and make sense of it, so that you see that this story that you tell yourself of, you know, I can't make money, it's just an illusion. And she frees you by cutting the cord, the link, the chain, and the shackle that has you shackled to something that shouldn't be holding you back, which is exactly what Judith said right there. So that's the elephant and the plastic chair syndrome. So you take a baby elephant, you chain his leg to a tree trunk, you remove the tree trunk after 6 months, you replace it with a chair. The elephant will not pull that chair. Now he's a full-size elephant and literally chained to a plastic chair. And his perception is that this chair will not move. And we all have that perception. And what Judith is, she frees that perception up. I just want to acknowledge somebody, Orla Fahy, and we pronounce Fahy different in Australia. Orla Fahy from Ireland just said, we're actually all awake over here. I was actually just being facetious. I was just kidding. And so how did you learn to do these past life readings, I would be very, very intrigued about how did you pick up this knowledge and information, Judith?
Well, I was actually doing some courses on healing and channeling and doing readings. And one of the processes that we did with that was past life readings, where we actually called in this case, it was Egyptian divinities that we were working with to help us. And I put my hands on the person's shoulders because we tend to store our past life memories the strongest in our shoulders. Since then, I've seen I can feel different memories in different parts of the body. But yeah, popped them on the shoulders and just started to describe to the person in the classroom, what I saw and how I viewed it to be in this lifetime. And they're like, wow, that's exactly how it is. That's how it is in my lifetime. So just started practicing that, and then started taking it to fairs and things. But it really is tapping into that field of information, but being really focused on where it is that you're going into that field, rather than just having all of this information and random stuff coming towards you. It's being really focused on. So people have got particular issues or something of interest, you can laser in on that. Or if they're just going, I just want to know what's holding me back the most or most influencing me at the moment, and you just focus in on that with that intent. And a process that seemed fairly unconscious at the time, but after doing other courses like Akashic record readings and that, and the message I got from the teacher, she said, just welcome back. So obviously done it many times before. That's pretty much it. It's just has that intent and that focus, and allowing your conscious mind to get out of the way.
Which can be a very, very difficult process. So what you do, Judith, is you take that mind, as you did with mine, and you take that person, into an experience by just communicating with them through video, for example. And what you're doing is you're destructing that limited personality, and you're freeing that energy up to let them see, oh my God. And I'm just having more thoughts as I talk to all you guys here. As you can see, first off, by Judith's background, it says there, Think and Grow Education Practitioner, and with a Think and Grow logo behind Judith. So she is our practitioner in this realm for this very reason, that this is what she does. So while we're all here together in this video, and for those of you later watching the recording of the video, just know this: most people are off being limited, doing the same thing, repeating the same thing. You guys are here now learning, if I can really, really connect with who I truly am, and if somebody can bring me there like Judith and really show me the part of myself that I've been burying and suppressing, and allow me to release that to build my mountain. Well, when you stand on a mountain, don't you get higher and higher? And all of a sudden, the higher you get, the more you see. And Judith frees that up and brings you up to the mountain so that you can look down and realize, oh my God, look at what's all around me here. So Judith, tell me, what could somebody expect to experience from one of your readings?
Well, I generally go through at least 5 different lifetimes. They can be a theme, and they may be in different areas depending on what comes up, depending on how much detail, how many I can go through in the time. They can ask questions as if they pop up along the way. I may also get other information that's relevant to them around what they're curious about, what they're needing to know, and how that is reflected in their life. And then at the end, I do a process of forgiveness and release and karmic release to allow them to shake those loose and to gain that extra perspective and how to move forward.
And for me, it allowed me to answer a lingering question that I was carrying in my back pocket for years, that I just, I just couldn't make sense of that question. And Judith just made sense of the whole thing. And the release of that was so brilliant. I just loved it. And that's why we had to make you our practitioner in this field. So when you do this, what are you connecting with? When you do a reading, what do you connect with? What is that energy force? Where is it? Where does it live? Is it real? Does it speak to you? Does it give you pictures and visions? And where is it? Where is this force that you're connecting with?
Well, to say that I know would probably be a lie. I definitely have had the experience where you're going into that all there is, that oneness, that light, where everything is available, all possibilities, all information, all that love is. Through intent, I generally get a mixture. I'll see pictures, I'll get thoughts, I'll hear things, and I'll feel things. So I get the information in lots of different ways. And as they come in, I'll ask questions in my mind to get clarification around what that's all about, and how I can practically pass that information on for their highest good.
I asked.
Yeah, we're all in that field of information, that quantum field where everything is information. We're made of total information. Everything is made of information, and it's when we actually look on something, like I'm going to the field looking on something, and then that collapses into usable information or into information, depending. So yeah.
We just ran our 4-day workshops in Perth and Melbourne. I just came back the other morning from Melbourne, and we talked about this phenomenon in science called aphaptic coupling. And to put it in short, we were teaching these people that their memories are outside of them. And to explain that in a very simplistic way, we have a pineal gland in the center of our head, which acts like an aerial, an antenna, just like the aerial in your car. And the DJ in the radio is not in the radio. The DJ is off in Tullamore or in Birmingham or in Sydney or in Philadelphia. And he's speaking in a room, and that frequency is transmitted across the globe and picked up by the aerial in the car. Well, we have an aerial in our head, but it also acts as a transmitter. So we can turn an aerial around. And they used to do this in the war. They had a car radio, or a radio taking information. They could convert it to send out information. And the pineal gland is the same thing. And what they found with this aphaptic coupling process was that when we have a thought, the thought acts like a vector. It's a frequency that's just built in an instant. This frequency then is dispatched through the pineal gland, through the top of our head, to sit in an energy field 8 inches above our head called the 8th energy center. So every thought has its own unique fingerprint, and it sits in this energy field above our head forever. Nothing interferes with this for eternity. It is the thought that is the generator of it, and nothing moves this frequency. It stays there. So literally, as we are thinking, we now know that this field of energy above our head is connected to fields of energy all around us and all around the planet. And from the planets to solar systems, and across the entire galaxy. In fact, a telescope was able to take a photograph and show fields of energy around planets interconnecting with each other, and we're swimming in this stuff. So in other words, when we think, the universe learns from us because we make it intelligent by our thinking. And that field of thought sits there. That's aphaptic coupling. How a thought leaves our head, sits in a field of energy. So therefore, when people like you, Judith, come along and you tap into something, is it possible you're tapping into the memory that's been left by the deceased person? Because memories and consciousness lives on in that field of energy. So what you're saying just makes great sense. I love the story of Julie Way. Tell the viewers what you told me about Julie Way.
You might have to excuse me. I'm going to read it just because she is so eloquent with her wording,
Yes.
much more than I could be.
Yes.
Here we go. I experienced a session with Judith in January 2017, long time ago. That left a deep impression on me, finding it extraordinary for me in being insightful and deeply pertinent to what I had been going through and touching on persistent themes and issues that I'd been experiencing most of my lives. From a particular life, I saw where I had been projecting the exact same thing I did in that lifetime onto someone in this lifetime, and was able to see the connection and then bring healing to the present day and the person with forgiveness. As a consequence, I had an unexpected, miraculous overnight healing on a chronic case of very painful, disabling bursitis in the hip that I wondered if I would ever be free from. So powerful for me to see this connection of the guilt from that life appearing as pain and suffering in this lifetime that was holding me back. It's in a safe environment and highly qualified, caring, intuitive, sensitive person that true deep healing takes place. Judith is such a person for me. I'm very discriminating about who I choose to see, and felt safe to explore some things that were concerning me with Judith, who was so empathic, perceptive to what I needed to connect with and heal. Many people ask me for recommendations for a good past life therapist, and I recommend her with deep trust for her skills and calling in this area. She's a professional breathworker trainer and teacher for the last 38 years. So
Lovely.
yeah, and just a few other things. I was just reflecting back when I was working somewhere and not being able to use the skill as much. I would be doing night shift, and they had somebody that was having trouble with a thyroid and getting pregnant. And we did some work on past life, and she had some realizations. And yeah, it wasn't too long afterwards that she's had two beautiful children, which was really beautiful.
I love
and another,
that.
yeah, and another one that she's just like, can't understand. I keep seem to drawing in these people that just do the wrong thing by me, these drop kits or whatever, different, but never useful for her at all the time. She was so exasperated. Did a past life reading and did some clearing. And I swear it was in weeks that she met somebody. Oh, good. And she's happily married to that person to this day. And you know, stuff like that, it just make you go.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't it so beautiful when you change somebody's life like that, Judith? And I know that you're a coach as well, and people can communicate with you for that also. But isn't it so beautiful when you can make such an impression on people's lives that it's eternal for them, and then you as a practitioner feel that? Isn't that the greatest thing about being a practitioner, is feeling that? Now, I know your qualifications are you have a diploma in counseling, you're a magnetic mind certified coach, you're a certified zone coach, you're an NLP practitioner, an EFT practitioner, an Isis Lotus healer, a certified sound healer, an ACIM student, and you've been doing many, many self-studies for the past 28 years. And you do these readings, which are brilliant. And you're also a coach, and you do some amazing work in coaching as well. When you're doing this work, reading, what steps do you use for this? Just give me the, say, 5 steps that you might bring people through.
So then coaching, we're talking now, yeah?
Your coaching, yeah, just give me the 5 steps in your coaching, just so I can get a bit of an understanding of that.
Okay. There are different ones depending on where we're going, but the main ones that I use is getting people to actually have a true choice to begin with, because so many are just going, I think this is what I want based on my conditioning, background, etc. So really being able to get them into a true choice of their heart, what they really love, and looking at where they are compared to that to get them into this the right structure, which I'll talk a bit more about afterwards. Get them into the right structure. Then we look at what is in the way, bring up into the active experience all of those things that they're aware of, and also when we step into each end, it helps to to draw it out into the active experience, those unconscious things as well that are stopping them. And then I do a recode process where we go into the field and I command their superconscious and my superconscious, who are working together, these commands to help them to release the resistance to whatever it is that they're choosing to create. And then get insight onto what is their next step in getting them to take action.
Now, for those of you who would love...
Shall I go into a little more detail?
Yes, if you want to. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
The structure is such an important thing that doesn't sound like much, but most people have been in a different structure all of their life, in that fixing, thinking that there's something wrong with you, as you said before, and then all of their life looking at ways to fix and compensate for these things that they've told themselves or have been told are wrong with them and need to be fixed. You have to do this, you have to do that before you can have what you want. But there is another choice, and that's something I love to explain and to show people that they're not broken. It's not personal. They're just in the wrong structure. They've got their focus in the wrong place, power in the wrong place. And so turning them around to get into that, and then being able to release all of those things, as you're saying with the past life, this just allows them that release to... it can be generational. We found that you know, people are influenced at least 7 generations back. Can be the collective, it can be from your childhood and past lives. The beauty of the superconscious is we don't need to know exactly. We just get the superconscious to find what needs to change, and get it to do it, so that you can take that action. Whereas before you go, I want to do this, I want to do that, but you've got your subconscious mind going, no, that's not safe. You really don't want to do that. Which I know you talk about a lot in your workshops and all that. That's absolutely ace. I'm not doing the justice I could with the time that we've got. But yeah, it's really allowing them to see past their conditioning, because people go, I'm not acting like that. And at least when you've got a coach or someone, you can go, actually,
they can call you on your
are.
stuff, right? They can really, really show you your stuff.
Absolutely.
Really
Yeah. Whereas you go,
no escape.
I'm
Yes.
not doing that. I
Yeah.
would never do that, or
That's
whatever.
not me.
They're just
Yes.
totally blind.
I love
Totally
it.
blind to what they're doing. So yeah, it helps them to come into that and to act in a different way.
So just think about this. For those of you watching, just think about tomorrow night, making a conclusive decision with yourself tomorrow night, not to come home and just sit and watch TV again. How about just taking part in your own continual self-growth? And, you know, when you put time and energy into your body and into your mind, you put time and energy into your future. And when you put time and energy into your future, you create order in your future. When you start to delve deep into who you are and see who you are and reveal who you are and allow that revelation to carry you, you start to build new realities, new paradigms, new places, new things. New things happen when you stop doing old things and start doing new things. So the challenge to you now is, what are you going to do tomorrow night when you come home from work? Are you going to sit with somebody like Judith and say, Judith, spill the beans. Show me who I am. I'm ready for it. Let's take off the veil. Let's take off the mask. Let's remove that mask and reveal who I am, so I can see myself, so I can put fuel in my fire and I can ride my chariot. I want to get off my donkey called my life. I want to get onto a racehorse because I want to see who I am, because I know I have the energy to do that. Now, what I want to do is I want to let people see how to connect with you, Judith, and how to communicate with you, and how to have some sessions with you so that they can experience all of this work that we're talking about. So let me just screen share for you if I could. And Judith, can you tell me if you can see this screen here? with the Practitioner Hub.
Yes.
Great. This, everybody, is our Think and Grow Practitioner Hub. This is your opportunity tomorrow night or Saturday night or Saturday morning if you're in Europe, or Sunday morning or Monday morning, whatever it is, to break convention, to stop doing the same thing, to come on the journey and do some greater stuff. This here is our Practitioner Hub on the Think and Grow website, Think and Grow Education website. This is the Think and Grow Education website. Up the top, there's Practitioner Hub. And as you can see, we also have our scrolling hub here as well. And there's some amazing, amazing people in our hub, as you can see. What we're doing now is we're now introducing you to another amazing person, Judith. Now, forgive my internet connection, because in Western Australia, IONET are having an internet problem, and we're all working on what do they call hotspots. So that's why there's some blanks and you cannot see Judith's face here. But let me show you how you can book in a session with Judith. This is Judith's promotional page. Now, let me just kill that. I don't know why that popped up. Let me just get rid of that. And down here, there is a button to book Judith. And you can book her now from anywhere in the world. And Judith, be ready to be exposed to the world, to people all across time zones. This is Judith's booking platform. And it's very simple, it's very easy, and it's also very, very inspiring. So Judith has a 20-minute discovery session that she will do with you for $47. So what do? You find this platform, you click on this little box here, and you book a $47 session with Judith. Now, in UK pounds, that is £23.50, and in euros, that is 32 euros. And just do your US conversion, which is about 39 US. Now, if you're really, really intrigued and you want to not do what I done, I only done it for a short period of time. She got me in 3 minutes and had me on the phone for 20. I didn't want to get off the phone. I wanted to stay on, but we hadn't planned this. It just came about when Judith told me my past life, and I realized we got to bring this to you guys. You got to go through what I went through. If you want to stay on the phone with Judith for an hour, well, you can do a full past life reading for an hour. And in that hour, I would strongly suggest to you that maybe if you have your smartphone and you can record it, because you'll forget little gems that you're going to talk about at dinner table when you go out with your family and friends and you start to tell them your true story. So have your recording or have your pen and paper and start to write things down as Judith's bringing you through that session. To do that, to book a 1 hour session, which is probably the most popular, and it's definitely the one that you should be doing. Don't just dip your toe in the water here. Just go all in, full thing. So that would cost you about 62 euro. Sorry, I'm not euro, I beg your pardon. It will cost you about 70 euro. It will cost you 62 pounds UK, and it's about 99 US dollars to book in. And all you'll do is put your details in, choose an option. And as you choose an option, then your payment indicator comes up. You make your payment. You'll then receive a calendar booking from Judith, and you choose your time. You choose your time. You select the time that you're going to be putting in to book with Judith. Now, if for any reason the calendar doesn't pop up when you make your booking, if for whatever reason that the two shall not be communicating, all you do is just send an email to info@thinkandgroweducation.com.au, info@thinkandgroweducation.com.au, and our team will just pick that up for you. I'm just looking at worst case scenarios, but technology is technology and you should be fine. So either way, we will get there. Judith, I just want to say thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for dedicating your time. Thank you for now being our latest and newest practitioner. After 23 years of you learning, all of a sudden you trained for 23 years just to be with that next person that books with you tonight. That person that's just going to sit with you, Judith, in the now. You're going to sit with Judith, and 23 years of this experience and the impact that that will have in your life. Make sure you write this down, because you're going to see and reveal your true self. What I got out of it, you will get out of this. Now, I was very specific when Judith started to reveal this to me. I knew I had to capture this right now. And I was writing down and making sense of all of it so I could remember my power. And I can tell you, she gave me a fire in my engine. And that was months ago. Well, guess what? You can see it behind me. That fire is still burning today. And it drives me because she revealed who I am, which put me on an even higher mountain. And that is the experience that I've had. And I can't wait to hear your experience. Now, when you have your session with Judith, please email that info email address and say, this is what happened to me with Judith, so that we can start to see that and we can really, really kind of elevate that. Judith, that's all from me tonight. Is there anything that you want to say before we leave people do book in with you and have their reading? Anything you want to end with?
Sure. Just one thing on the discovery session, just for Think and Grow Education, Ray, I have what they will receive with that when they book in is a free video, which will give them a much better understanding of how that creation process works, so that they can make the most of their creative abilities.
Yes.
Have it work for them instead of against them, and a recode experience within that, so they actually get to feel that. And that's normally $99, and they'll get that free so that they can get that to experience no matter what however they move forward from there. And yeah, just thank you for the opportunity. And I really do look forward to meeting anybody. Just to be able to share the magnificence of people, their true beauty and uniqueness within each of us, that genius that I just love to see drawn out of people, and to see how that can be expressed within their lives. It just brings me so much joy, and I'm really honored to have this opportunity. So
Great,
much love to you all.
And before we finish, I was blessed to spend 7 days and 8 nights with Judith and 30 other people at a Revolve retreat. So I got to know Judith really, really well. And when you have a session with Judith, you just feel good. So rather than watch The Bold and the Beautiful tomorrow, Coronation Street, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, just spend time on you. Just sit with Judith. Just go through your session with her. Just reveal yourself and enjoy it. Write it down. It will live with you forever. Judith, thanks for being with us tonight. Everybody else, thank you for being here. And I can't wait to hear your great stories.